That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.
You don't want to say nothing?
It didn't start yet, so we had the little thing.
Oh.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the OneCast. Joined this week by Seth Gigantopithecus Ellis, coming off of the 5th place finish in NPFL Stop number 2. Lake Norman here in North Carolina.
We got it muted so we can't see anything.
We have him muted right now, just like when his wife was on, so he couldn't see anything smart. And Chad, I totally just forgot Chad's last name.
Erickson.
From Goatwood Farms, who's one of Seth's title sponsor, who is Seth's title sponsor. So we're going to talk a little bit about Lake Norman event that just wrapped up. Seth's 5th place finish. If you look at it, it's pretty sweet to see 4 Elite Series anglers and our buddy Seth in there. So that's pretty cool.
That's right. Yeah.
But before we do that, as always, we need to shout out all those that make this possible, starting with OneCast Fishing. You can head to OneCastFishing.com, use the code TheOneCast, all one word at checkout. Save yourself some money. From there, use the link in our description. It'll take you to Hobie Eyewear. Get the floating frames. We've talked about the Sightmaster Pluses, all that. So you all should be well educated. If this is your first time, go check out some of the episodes we've had Hobie on to talk about them. Great quality lenses, really strong frames, and that the new frame, the hull float is made completely of upcycled Hobie kayak hulls, so that's really cool for the environment. One last thing on Hobie before we go. June 29th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., we are co-organizing right now a lake cleanup on Jordan Lake. So if you're in the area, be on the lookout for that. We got a bunch of giveaways. This goes along with Carl Jockington of Fear My Heart. He does his annual lake cleanup on Gunnersville where he lives. Hobie's partnering with him to try to do them across the country. So June 29th, I believe 9 a.m. to noon, we're going to do the cleanup. Afterwards, we're going to have a bunch of drawings, give away a bunch of prizes, Elevate Outdoors, some other local companies have come on board. So looking forward to that. Carolina Waters.
Yep. Head on over to carolinawaters.nc.com. Use the code TheOneCast, all one word at checkout, and get all that UPF gear that we always talk about that's going to keep you protected. Seth's rocking some right now from those UV rays. And Ben, where do they need to go for their app store?
So in the App Store, you need to search Deep Dive and download the Deep Dive app before your next fishing trip. Take advantage of the free trial, then go ahead and subscribe for the year. We were using this past weekend for a little Take a Warrior fishing tournament out on Jordan Lake, helping us key in the key areas during the spawn, identified some potential locations. The water clarity feature was very important out there because of the rain we've had and the water being just a little bit high and drawing down. So those things, those features on the app definitely helped us eliminate a lot of water before we even get out there. So make sure you check it out. Use all that information to your advantage and help put more fish in the boat.
Yep. Last but not least, if you're looking for a home or property in central North Carolina, you can have our buddy Terry Carpenter, licensed NC realtor at Coldwell Banker, Howard Perry in Walston. Terry will do everything he can to find you the home or property of your dreams. Terry's an angler, has a boat. He understands what we're looking for as anglers. He also understands what your significant other may be looking for. So I told him the one thing I wanted in my house, and he found it. And the other 40 things Chelsea wanted were found. So we were good. I just needed a garage that would fit the boat. I got that, and I was a happy guy.
Yeah, but you don't even have a boat right now.
No. It's close, man.
I just turned the knife a little bit. Just kidding. Pete's going to get his new boat back here in a couple weeks, and we're going to be hitting the Roanoke River, the Chowan, the Pascatank, all that good stuff for that good frog fishing. Real quick. Home. Yeah, we real quick, Elevate Outdoors, guys, May 2nd, May 3rd,
next
9 a.m. to 5 p.m., the grand opening. The OneCast is going to be there. You're going to have a bunch of professional anglers and a great group of Elevate Outdoors staff members there to host you. So if you're in the market for a Bass Cat, Skeeter, Tidewater, G3, and all the other things that they have to offer, to include all the great tackle, swing on over to Elevate Outdoors. Yep. And then last but not least, it's going on until May 11th. But Hobie, if you purchase a pair of sunglasses, you're going to get that free sports towel. So make sure you head on over, use that link that Pete was talking about, get yourself some sunglasses. Hobie's going to throw in a free sport towel for you. Woo! Wow, what's been going on?
Just last but not least, real quick for Elevate, I just want to shout them guys out one more time. Being down a boat, we had the Take a Warrior fishing event last weekend, and they let me run one of their demo boats, which is probably nicer than any boat I'll ever buy. So I had a Apex Skeeter FXR 20. with a Yamaha 250 fully decked. It was a beautiful boat, ran great, great fishing platform. You can get that Joker skinny. Sorry, Jason. You can get it real skinny, almost like an aluminum boat. I was impressed.
Did you paint the lower unit after?
Yeah, we had to spray it real quick before he got there, so he didn't freak out because we had her in the dirt. But no, I just want to shout those guys out. They helped us make sure we get a warrior out on the water and participate in the event. So thank them again.
Absolutely.
All right, it's been forever since we've been together.
Holy cow, it has. What's going on in the
392
fishing
years.
world, real quick, before we bring Chad and Seth on?
Oh man, there's a lot. So obviously we've heard about boat incidents here.
Yeah.
One happened in the event at Norman. Luckily, no serious injuries. Unfortunately, there was another one in Alabama where 3 men lost their lives, and another boater was significantly hurt. So we can go into a lot. We were talking about it before. We're not going to get into it today. I'm sure we will at some point. But just wear your PFD. I know 2 of the guys in the Alabama incident died of drowning. I don't know if having a PFD would have helped or not, but always wear one. When you're running, it's smart to keep it on if you're in a bigger boat and you're fishing and you can. I mean, we can in a bass boat. The first thing we always do is take them off, but seeing an incident like that makes you double think. It's just wear your PFD. Be smart about boat positioning. Don't fish in boat lanes or anything crazy. We don't know all the details. I'm not blaming anybody, so don't come at me. But I'm sure we'll find out more as that goes. Just be smart, I guess, is the biggest thing.
Yep.
Other than that,
yeah. So
NPFL wrapped.
And NPFL wrapped. The Open's wrapped up.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I forgot there was an Open.
Smith got canceled. The invitationals that got canceled because of the incident.
Yeah,
right. Bass Opens is concluded. NPFL event. We're going to dive into it. I got the firsthand look at behind the scenes and how they run that show.
And the elites are about to start Hartwell.
And the elites are getting ready to crack in Hartwell. So
today.
Who's your pick? Who's your pick for Hartwell?
Or if they're listening, this is today.
I'd have to go back.
I'm gonna go with Patrick Walters.
I think
he's disgustingly good. Makes me mad every time he fishes. I wish I could be that good, but I think Patrick Walters is going to dominate in this event.
I gotta go set my thing.
You got to set your fantasy.
I'm gonna go with Kyle Welcher. Dude's riding an absolute wave of momentum right now, and it's hard to deny that. Came into Norman after winning the Pasco Tank by 45 pounds or so, whatever ridiculous. The final was over there.
Yep.
Ended up with a top 5 at Norman. Just the dude is on one right now, and it's hard to deny that. So I think he'll ride that wave. And Norman, Hartwell's a lake that I think fishes well for him. So
what do you think, Ben?
So the 5 I picked were Welcher, Walters, Tyler Rivette, Cody Huff, a lot of live scopers in there, and Kenta in the last bucket. So, but if I had to go with, I think it's either going to be, Patrick's probably going to win it, but I'd like to see Tyler win one too. Tyler or Cody too.
Before we bring Seth and Chad on, Chad, who's your pick for Hartwell? Just say one name.
Brandon Cobb.
Okay, Brandon Cobb. Seth, who's your pick for Hartwell?
Come on, we just talked about this on the way here.
Yeah, I know. I'll be honest with you. I'm going Shane LaHue.
Shane LaHue.
Good
Okay. So we got Brandon Cobb and Shane LaHue, both who fished the NPFL by the way, and they did pretty well in the Lake Norman event. So, man, the bass fishing tournament series all across the board is hot and heavy right now. So we're going to deep dive in to the Lake Norman event, unless you guys got anything else from the bass fishing world. Hey, we came off a top 6 finish at the Fishers of Men Derby at Mayo Lake. For what it's worth, you're welcome. Jesse beat us. Jesse Wise beat us for like half a pound, and then Nick Brown, who also fishes the NPFL, came in and beat us by like a pound. Not really sure how that one happened, but he did beat us. And congratulations to the winners. I think it was a father-son team, and they absolutely dominated that event. So congratulations to those guys. And we did use live scope, but we didn't ping them. There's a difference, folks. There's a difference. Drop shot, 7:36 in the morning, 5 fish limit. You're welcome. All right. So let's bring them on. So we got,
hates that.
Yeah, I know.
I saw his soul leave his body right there.
So we got Seth Ellis in studio. You guys, he's no stranger to the show. A lot of memories with Seth here. He's a great friend of ours. And we got Chad in here, Chad is the owner of Goatwood Farms, which is out of Durham, correct?
STEM.
STEM.
Yep, Littletown, Granville County.
STEM in Granville County. So we're gonna talk to Seth a little bit. We're gonna do a breakdown of the Lake Norman event, and then we're gonna talk to Chad about being a title sponsor, being an angler himself. He fishes some pretty high level tournaments, and we're gonna talk that avenue, which is something we haven't really done before on the show. We've had wives of anglers on, we've had vendors on the show, we've had numerous people, but we've never really had a title sponsor, which I think is an important topic to discuss. So, without further ado, Seth Ellis, congratulations, you giant man, on your 5th place finish at Lake Norman, dude. Talk to us about it.
Well, first of all, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm glad to be back, guys. It was awesome. Super, super awesome experience for me and my family and Chad. Just everybody involved. Trey, you were there working for the NPFL that week. So super cool, man. When that tournament came up, I circled that one.
Yeah.
You know, it's the time of the year. And I circled Santee too, don't get me wrong, but that place just kicked my teeth in. I never figured it out. I never got a big bite, and I was just angry, you know. So
yeah.
Coming into Norman, and I'll be honest with you, after the first day, about 9:30, I think I'd seen about 10 4-pounders on the bed. I said, I know what I'm going to do.
Yep.
I didn't fish the rest of the time. Didn't fish. I just put my trolling motor on high, and I covered as much water in the next 5 days as I could cover.
That was your practice.
Yeah. The next 2 days and then 3 days through the tournament, I didn't slow down. I never retraced water, and I did exactly what I wanted to do, and that was stare at every single one of them. You know, with the exception of 2. I weighed in 2 in my 3 days of tournament fishing that were not caught off the bed. One was caught off in the corner of a dock post on a wacky worm, and then the last day, the 4-pounder I caught, I knew where it was, but I never saw it. I threw my wacky wormed Ocho up there, and first cast bit, took off, and it was a 420 something
inside the mouth.
Correct.
Doesn't even matter. You didn't see it.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying is out of the 15 fish that I weighed in, 13 of them I saw.
Let me ask you this before we deep dive into day 1 of the tournament. Let me set the stage for Lake Norman. Lake Norman is part of the Catawba River Basin. It's 44,000, give or take, acres. It's a huge lake. It's filled with spotted bass and largemouth bass. It is not a blueback herring lake, right?
It's got some, but it's not predominant.
But it's not known for that.
Right.
It's got a river system, and it's got a ton. It's got a million docks on it, right? So it's got a lot of docks. It's the lake, folks. If you're listening or watching, it's the lake that we talk about, that we hold the annual Special Operations Bass Anglers Charity Tournament on in November, which is always the Friday before Veterans Day. It's a great lake. Lots of fish in that lake. Hard to find big bites. Seth, how did you tackle the areas of the lake in practice?
So being from here and fishing there quite a bit, I knew where the majority of the largemouth population lived. So I focused on that area solely. You can win there on spots, don't get me wrong, but you win there on spots pre-spawn and post-spawn. I knew what I saw in practice after the first couple hours that I could have a shot to win or win that event in the area I was fishing in. So I spent the next 2.5 days just burning down every acre of that. I'd say probably 5 miles. It was 3 major creeks, and I don't have any secrets. It was Stumpy, Rocky, and then a little bit right around the state park area. Those were the 3 areas that I looked at. I did spend a little bit of time in McCrary in practice, but all those fish during the tournament left me, so I never could get bit in there. So I knew that if I was going to compete with the locals, and look, that's the hardest thing, and I try to tell some of the guys that I room with, it's the hardest thing to do is beat those guys out there. And I'm talking the Shane Hughes, the Cobbs, the Hamricks, the David Williams, the Shane Linebergers. Those guys have so much experience. They know exactly what dock to pull on, exactly what cast to make.
Yep.
They're tough to beat. So I knew if I had a chance to win this event, it was going to be sight fishing.
Yep.
And after the first 2 or 3 hours that morning, when I rolled down a stretch of bank and I saw like 2 4s, a 5, a couple 3s, I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. And that's what I did. So for the next 2.5 days, I just put my trolling motor on high and tried to cover as much water as I could. Not necessarily marking fish, but finding areas where I noticed in practice that if I found a pocket that had 3 of them in it, there would be like 7 of them in it. You just wouldn't necessarily see them in your first go round. Because I had the trolling motor on 9, like I was rolling. So I did that, and then I could bypass the areas I didn't see any in, because my plan was not to fish at all. It was to stare at every single one of them. And then in practice, I saw that quality, and I knew that's what I was going to do.
So by the time practice was over, how many waypoints do you think you had?
I only had 6, and those were the 6 that I guessed to be over 5 pounds.
Oh,
so
you only waypointed giant fish.
Yeah, I don't, because the thing about it is 2.5 pounders aren't going to do you no good.
Oh,
I mean, that's just my opinion. I knew what I had to win, especially with the bunch that was there, especially the locals and that time of the year, that 2.5 pounders were going to do me no good. So I passed on probably 300 that were 2.5 pounds.
Good gracious.
Easy.
But you knew where they were at. You could like go
I could
back
have gone to them. And the third day I did.
Yeah.
The third day I did. But the first 2 days I knew what I had to have. So I wasn't even looking at them. I had a 4-pound bite the first day, 2 4-pound bites the second day, and then a 4-pound bite the third day. The only difference was that the third day I couldn't get those fish to bite that I found late the second day. The first day, the only 4-pounder that I had found, because all the other fish that I had checked were gone from practice, I caught it. And then I caught a high 3, and then a bunch of high 2s, which had my, 13, almost 14 pounds. And then the second day I had 2 4s and a high 3, and I found several more 4s late that day, because once I had 16, whatever it was, like 1:30, I quit fishing.
Because you had a 5 o'clock check-in the second day, right?
No, the first day I had a 5 o'clock check-in.
Okay.
The second day I had a 3:15 check-in. I caught all my weight between 11 and 2.
And then the last day you had a late.
The last day I had a late check-in, and I found some giants the last day, but I just couldn't get them to bite.
Here's what I want you to explain to the audience. And one of the reasons about bed fishing, Pete's really good at bed fishing. I learned a lot during the Fishers and Men National Championship about bed fishing. I did some of it yesterday with that OneCast Fishing Nighthawk and the green pumpkin and sunfish. You need to get your hands on some of those. But anyhow, when you're in practice, and this is for the audience, right? When you're practicing for a bed fishing tournament, what are the things that you're looking for so that you can come back to that? Like, talk about fish behavior, what you're visibly looking for, and what are some of the key baits you're going to use when you go back to those fish. And then when do you say, I'm not coming back to that fish? Okay. Let's talk about that.
All right. So we'll start off with what I look for. I look for areas with a lot of fish in them. They don't necessarily have to be on the bed. They have to be swimming around to where I can see them, right? Because as things progress, especially this last week, we had the first couple of days that were cold. We had cold nights, lows in the 30s, frost. That's just going to hinder that deal, right? They're not going to go anywhere. They want to spawn, but they're not going to rush up there and start to do their deal. So my main thing was I needed to see swimmers, and I saw a lot of them. Like a lot of them, and some big ones. I mean, I saw groups of 4-pounders swimming almost in every pocket I pulled in. Now, granted, not all those panned out, but I saw a lot of swimmers in practice. So that's one thing I look for, swimmers. And then the next thing I do is I look for males that are super lackadaisical. And what I mean by that is something that's not super aggressive, because if they're super aggressive, that means the female's come up and gone already. I don't want that. I want a male that might hang around, might not, kind of swim a little bit, but not too aggressive, because he's waiting on a female to show up. If I've got one that's super first pitch, she's been gone, and I don't want to fool with her, him, because she's not going to be there anymore. So that's another thing I look for. And then the last thing I look for is pairs, right? Pairs, to me, they're 6 of one, half dozen of another. And what I mean by that is a lot of times when you find pairs in practice, most of the time the female's gone. Now, if you can find pairs that are swimming together, but not necessarily on bed, then you got a chance of catching the female during the event, depending on what day of practice you found them. But those are the 3 criteria that I look for, and I try to find as much of that as possible. I try to find more fish that are swimming than are actually on bed.
Yeah,
because those fish, by the time, prime example, the first day of the event, I found some giants swimming around. Late in the afternoon, I went back and just looked around, and a couple of them were already locked. And by the third day of practice, they were gone. So I try to find more fish that are swimming because those fish are trending more towards locking down on the bed during my event than ones that are already locked down. Because most of the time you're just going to find males.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you find a female on the first day of practice and she's there by the first day of the event. It's just the way it goes. So those are the three things that I look for when I'm bed fishing, and I don't ever set the hook.
Do you pay attention to the weather conditions while you're doing that though?
This late in the year, no.
Okay.
Because those fish are there. They've been there. They're not going anywhere. The only thing it's going to do is those late nights hinder how soon they get up there and lock down. Right? If we were talking 1st of March, yes. But we're almost 3rd week in April. The weather has been super consistent up until this point. All that cold night does is just slow it down just a little bit. But they're not going to tuck tail and run.
Yeah.
So as far as, weather goes, the only thing I watch for is clouds and rain, because that's going to hinder the sight bite.
Yeah.
Those fish aren't going to go anywhere. It's just a matter of how long it takes for them to get up there to do their thing.
So since you only marked 5 or 6 that were over 5 pounds, if you would have had rain and cloud cover and stuff for the tournament, would you have started actually marking fish so you could blind fish for them?
No, because it would have been a moot point. Because then you start wasting your time on fish you don't even know that are there.
So you wouldn't even have sight fished for the tournament?
More than likely not.
Okay.
I would have fished the same areas, but I wouldn't have sight fished.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Because here's the thing. If I go through on a practice started on a Sunday. On Sunday, I found 3 big ones. On Monday, I found 6 big ones. And on Tuesday, I found 2 big ones. Well, realistically, the smartest thing for me to do is go back to the fish I found yesterday, not the fish I found on Sunday, right? Well, I could fish for those fish for 3 hours, and they're not even there anymore. So when now Norman is an exception because it's super clear. So even on cloudy days, it's easy to see there.
Yeah, you can see
The wind is the problem. Whatever breaks up the surface clarity, wind and rain, makes it the toughest. So if I would have known that was coming, I probably would have tried to mark my best areas with the fish that I saw, but I would have never tried to lock down a sight fish. I would have just slowed down.
Okay. Yeah.
If you get a flogger, you still could.
Yeah.
And I've thought about in some of these areas, Gaston, Norman, but here's the deal. These fish were so spooky, you couldn't get within 2 boat lengths of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that against the rules?
No.
You can use a flogger?
As far as I know. I mean,
I'm just curious.
We haven't gone up north to use one yet, so I don't know.
Yeah, flogger isn't going to do you any good unless you get right on top of the fish.
And that's the problem. These fish were so, like the spots you probably could have. Now, that's the thing. The largemouth were shallow. The spots were in 4 to 5 foot. If you could have got over top of the spots, you probably would have been okay. But I didn't see any big spots where I was at. I just saw a big largemouth.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Did you notice, so the areas you found fish, like first day of practice, did you notice as the tournament went along that those areas died out more?
No.
Really?
They kept coming.
They kept coming.
Yeah, they kept coming. And the funny, like the last day, Fat Cat was asking me, he's like, or the second day, he's like, dude, you got people around you? I'm like, no. I saw 2 boats the entire tournament. One of them was Patrick Walters in Stumpy Creek, and the other one was Scott Hamrick the last day. And I asked him, because I was going into a pocket, and I come off pad, and he was fishing a dock. I said, Scott, did you catch that one back there? He said, no, I'm not bed fishing. That's only 2 boats I saw.
That's it.
Like I never saw Zach, roommate, Cole, roommate, Josh Hooks, roommate, Jordan Osborne, roommate. Never saw any of those guys.
Yeah.
Because I knew where I needed to be.
So practice is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Correct.
Derby starts Wednesday.
Yep.
Thursday, and then finale Friday.
Yep.
You got Zach Burge, Josh Hooks, Jordan Osborne, Cole Harris, and then occasionally James Watson.
Yeah, Watson was there, and I talked to Watson a lot.
What did you guys all have different game plans, or how was it shaken out for the tournament?
Yes and no. So those guys all saw sight fish on the bank. I mean, it was no secret that that's what was going on.
Yeah.
I think a lot of guys really didn't think it was that prolific. But if you look at all the guys that finished in the top 5, they were all sight fishing.
Yeah.
Hackney, Walters, KJ Queen, me, we were all sight fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, I think Jason Burrows, he wasn't sight fishing. He had a top 10. David Williams caught a few sight fishing, but he had a top 10. But most of the guys that found them were sight.
Welcher was sight fishing.
And Welcher, of course. Yeah. I mean, the guy cracks 20 on a place that's a rare bag. But anyway,
it was 19. Don't give him that much credit.
It was 19 with 1 day of practice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's one of them things where
Rub it in, Pete. Rub it in.
oh look, the guy is
He's phenomenal.
he's on another level.
He's got fish brains, bro.
So
I mean,
just
just
you
when-
get on a streak like that.
when a guy's on a heater, there's nothing you can do. And it's look, Kyle's a super humble dude.
Yep.
I've talked to him several times, but he'll probably tell you like he can't mess up right now.
Yep.
As hard as he wanted to mess up, he still couldn't do it.
I mean, just look what he did to the tank. Like, how many times you get to hook a 10-pounder twice?
Yeah.
Like, that just doesn't happen.
And that's the
right?
second time in his Elite Series he's got a 10-pounder. I'm still waiting for one.
So,
Anyways.
but yeah, I mean, I knew that was going on, so that's what I.
And most of those guys were largemouth fishing first,
Oh, Burroughs wasn't, but yes,
but the most in the top, all the
and
sight fishing guys.
no, Hackney wasn't.
Oh.
And that's the funny thing about it. I mean, it's no secret. Hackney's my idol. But the last day we
The
talked,
goat.
and he actually
Wood
had a place
Farms.
where he was catching a bunch of spots on bed in like 4 foot of water. They were just not, they weren't on docks. They were just in between docks on stumps and sticks. He's like, dude, I would just roll down the bank in like 5 foot and look down and see one and just mark it and come back to it. He was just fishing for whatever he could see. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't think you could win on spots. I didn't think you could because I fished over there enough to know. In the wintertime, you can. But right now, when a lot of those largemouth are up there like that, you've got to fish for them. Because if you don't, most of those spots on the south end where majority of the guys were are spawned out because those fish spawn in February with that hot haul.
Yep.
Now some of the ones that are up in the upper lake were still spawning, but I never saw the biggest spot I waited all week was 246, and I caught it on the bed the last day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. There was a 3 3/4 pound spot right by the boat ramp that you guys didn't see.
Was that the one that Watson was fishing for?
I don't know if he fished for it, but I watched some YouTube kids catch it. It was a big old spot on bed. I was like, oh no, man. But yeah. So what was real quick? What was Zach's game plan? Like quick game plan. What was he doing?
So Zach was side fishing, but he was just covering water. That's what Zach does.
Okay, cover water.
Yeah, Zach's a bite generator.
Okay.
Him and I actually had this conversation there, as he said, "Man, I've always relied on cashing checks.
Yeah.
I don't, now his career's pretty much solidified at what he's doing, but he's like, I've had to rely on getting bites and making money.
Mhm.
So that's what Zach does. He covers a ton of water.
Yeah.
Cole was doing something similar, covering a ton of water, but he also saw bedfish.
Yeah.
And then Josh was doing, Josh was just kind of fishing, right?
Yeah.
He knew they were on beds. He saw some big ones, found a couple big ones, but he was just fishing, right? He caught a big one in practice on a glide that he said was like 6. Excuse me.
That's a giant for Lake Norman.
Yep, and it was like I got a picture of it. It has a giant head on it.
I saw it.
Yeah.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
So all those guys, and then Jordan was kind of doing his own thing, right? So Jordan has some history on spotted bass lakes, more specifically some in the south, but he was kind of fishing offshore-ish,
Mhm.
and just the quality kind of left him as the
Mhm.
tournament went on. He was catching some decent ones in practice,
Mhm.
but as the tournament went on, the bigger ones I think went shallow.
So practice wraps up on Tuesday. You're getting ready to hit it. What's your boat draw for Wednesday?
105, and I couldn't have been any happier.
Yeah. Why is that?
I wanted that late day.
Yeah.
Because of the cold nights we were having.
Yep.
There was a lot of fish swimming around till like 11 or 12 o'clock, and all of a sudden that sun get up and they go, and they just get right there, and it was just easy pickings.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of guys didn't realize. They'd see them swimming and try to catch them when they were spooky, and they'd swim off. And all
Too
of a
hard to
sudden,
catch some fish.
well, until the sun
Impossible.
got high,
Yeah.
it got warm, then they got right.
Yeah. So you get in the 100s. That puts you due back on day one at like what, 4:30?
No, 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
And I had a place I wanted to start.
Yeah.
I went down one stretch, best stretch I'd seen all week. It was like a 6, 2 3s, a 4, one that I guessed between 3 and 4, and then one that was like 5, and a bunch of bucks that were between 2 and 3 pounds. All largemouth.
What's your arsenal for day one? What's on the front deck?
So I had
Not very much.
No, I had a glide bait, which it's situational. I had a wacky wormed Ocho, Strike King Ocho, and then I had a Strike King Rage Bug, and then I think I had a frog on.
Okay.
I think, but I can't remember.
Well, clearly you didn't catch anything on the frog.
Correct. Correct. Oh, and I also had a weightless Texas rig Strike King shimmy stick.
Okay.
Just to give those fish something different because they see 10 million wacky worms.
Yeah.
But those are the 4 or 5 rods I had on the deck. Yep.
So day one, you blast off. Well, let me back up real quick. Somebody ran into the release boat on day one of the NPFL tournament. I'm not going to name the name, but it was on live, and it was probably the funniest thing that I've seen. If you're listening to this, I'm sorry you damaged the crap out of your boat, but I thought it was really funny. But other than that, it was
somebody hit a wake boat.
Oh yeah,
So you're not going to name drop?
No, I don't want to name drop.
Okay.
Can't do that.
All right,
there was on the non-funny side, there was definitely an incident. Day one of the blast off, you got 17, 18 anglers going out there. There was an incident. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. Smith Lake with the MLF had an issue. So did the NPFL. Brad Fuller got out there and put a service announcement out and talked about the safety and boating and stuff like that. And so I'm not going to say anything more about that. But at the end of the day, like, be careful when you guys are running down the lake. Pay attention to your surroundings, not just your mapping product. Even though we have the best in the world, there was an incident, and thankfully both of the people involved in that are alive. You fish all day long.
Well, wait a minute. You were there.
I was there.
And I told you I'd found the juice. Did I not?
You did.
And I said, man, I want to get there. And you're like, dude, you're going to make it there.
You're going to make it there.
Fine.
You make it there. What happened when you get to your spot?
Dude, I'm not kidding you. I didn't see a boat in there. I checked it twice. And what I mean, I checked it, like I kind of sat around.
Santa Claus, like you checked it twice?
Yeah. Like I sat around, didn't fish, power pole down, like I was working on tackle to make sure guys wouldn't show up. I never saw a boat. Rolling their first day of the tournament on 105. And you know how, like, you going into an area, you can see a boat's been in there before, like there's bubbles.
Yeah.
Didn't see none of that. Roll around the first pocket. I'm like, all right. It's a series of 3 pockets in a long creek arm. First pocket, nobody. Get up there in the second pocket where the juice was at. I stopped just shy. Wanted to fish a boat dock on a point because there was a bed that had three fish on it, 2 3-pounders and a small buck in practice. Right under the walkway, I knew the pitch to make. I get around there and I look up. It was one of my competitors.
Who was it?
I'd rather not say. So I'm like, all right.
What do you mean, rather? Well, you just said you only saw 2 boats. It was either Patrick Walters or
no, it was Swindle.
G-Man was in there.
But here's the thing: he hadn't been in there long, and he was like halfway through the pocket. So I don't even think he saw those fish.
He was burning. He was burning top water, wasn't he?
I don't know what he was doing because I wasn't paying attention. I was kind of bummed that he was already in there. So I go around the dock, I power pole down, and I make 2 or 3 pitches, nothing. I kind of ease on up in there, and I can see just bare nothing. I mean, it was a perfect, just dinner-sized dish, white, nothing in it. I was like, crap. So just to the left of that, there was an old boat ramp, and on that boat ramp, there was 2 giants. I mean, 4 pluses. Kind of eased over there, power pole down, skip that wacky worm up there, and get a bite. Reel it in, skip it to the left a little bit, and get a bite. I'm like, God. Pitch that rage buck in there, shake it a little bit, and get a bite. I'm like, God. So I raise up, wheeze on there, gone. I was like, all right, I ain't fooling with this no more. He's either got them or they left, and I'm not going behind him the whole pocket. So I just ease on out and go to the next pocket. There was some smaller bucks in the back. I just wanted to check to see if a female had showed up. They weren't any. I was on my way out, and I just skipped a wacky worm up there, and I caught one. It was like 2 1/4, largemouth. It's like, all right, that's a decent start. Didn't get another bite. Come out all the way back down. Swindle's still in that pocket. I get to the very first pocket that I passed going in. And I'm easing on down through them. By this time, it's been an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, and you can see by now. And I look up, and there's like a 3-pounder just doing circles around the dock post, largemouth. I'm like, all right, you done told yourself where you're at. So I just go down past him, come back around, power pole down. I worked this fish for maybe 10 minutes, and I catch it. It was 302, largemouth, male. All right. Go down, fish some more, and then I'm like, all right, this ain't working. So I leave. I make a run, go all the way down, or up, should I say, to the Stumpy Rocky Creek area. And I go to a fish that I saw in practice. Get up in there, and she's there. It's that 4-pound female. I'm like, okay. She maybe took me 30 minutes. Caught her real quick. I was like, okay, now we're working. And then for a while, I couldn't figure it out. Like I either went behind somebody, and I said this in the weigh-in line. I had got behind somebody, and everything I checked was either gone or super spooky. Like I couldn't even get close, and I'd see it swimming 40 yards away. So I felt like I got into a bad rotation. So after about 2 hours of that, I just said, the heck with this. And I just went up like not 10 miles, but maybe 3 miles and just started fishing some pockets that I figured they would be in, because all these fish were in the same general area. If I started looking, I could see some. And sure enough, I found some, and then they were decent fish. And I ended up with almost 14 pounds the first day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So G-Man was in there. I thought for sure that you would have everything to yourself.
I did too, man. I didn't
100%.
see anybody. And
Yeah.
that's the only 2 boats I saw, minus the last day when I saw Scott Hamrick and then I saw Hank Cherry. But other than that, I didn't see anybody.
Well, and that's all about the rotation, right? The time you leave there, they
That's
come
right.
flying in there. You have no idea. And it's not that they caught all those fish off those beds. by the
Correct.
way.
I don't even think Swindle knew they were there.
Probably not, right? Because you have to think about like sight fishing, and Pete showed me this like when we were down at Murray, man. Like, dude, not everybody can see those fish.
No.
They definitely cannot see those fish. There's those beds that are dead giveaways that you can see no problem, but then there'll be like 2 to 3 dock posts out, and the only time you see them is when they flash their tail. And
That,
like,
or you go over top of them and happen to just look straight down.
Exactly.
But that's the inexperience of most of those guys.
Right.
Right. So what people don't realize is the clearer the water, the deeper they can spawn.
Yep.
They don't have to be on the bank then.
No.
Right. It's no different than when you're just fishing for them. If the water's super clear, they're going to be doing 2 things. They're going to be where you can't see them, or in shade, which is under
Yeah.
boat docks.
Right.
So I, fishing long enough as I have, I knew that was the possibility. They were going to be tight next to boat docks to where their bed would be in sun, but they could sit in the shade, or they would be out in 4 or 5 foot of water.
Yeah.
And I found some in 4 and 5 foot of water. The guys would be right on top of them and never know about them.
Good. That's a good thing. So you wrap up. You guys got anything before day one? So you wrap up day one. I got the pleasure of seeing you come up and you were like, yeah, I had a good bag today. You didn't say like, oh yeah, I hammered them or whatever, but yeah, that's a good bag of fish. You weigh in. Where are you sitting after day one?
18th, 17th, 19th. So I was in the top 20.
Yeah.
And I knew that I was where I wanted to be. I knew I could not have like an 11-pound day, because on that pond, it's so hard to back up days with 17, right? And you saw it later in the week. So I knew I was right. I was 13, 14, or 15. I was like an ounce or 2 shy of 14 pounds. So I was good. And I knew the second day I had to hammer on them, because that way I was going to put myself in contention with the third day.
Yeah. How was the house feeling?
Decent. I mean, guys could see them, but they couldn't get them to bite. Everybody caught a ton of fish, and that's the funny thing. Like Zach and Josh and Cole and Jordan, they were all catching 40 and 50 fish a day. I was catching like 7 because I wasn't fishing.
Yeah.
I was just looking.
Yeah.
Like I knew that I couldn't just fish and do well in this event. I had 100% that if I was going to do well in this event, I was going to stare at every single one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It almost seems like live scoping, but it's sight scoping.
Hey,
Basically the same thing.
here's the
Screen.
difference though. So this is funny you say that. An old timer that I know that does not have live scope. He did well a while back, and somebody said, "Man, did you catch him on your forward facing sonar?" He said, "No, I caught him facing forward." I said, "That's what I'm talking about."
There you go. Yeah. Well, hey, listen, folks, if you're new to the channel, or you're new to the podcast, the NPFL, they do not allow any sort of forward-facing sonar technology for 2025 outside of the Lake Hartwell Championship that they're going to host, which was under the 2024 rules.
So 2024 championship.
Or 2024 championship, I'm sorry, being held in 2025 under the
Which is why they fall,
Yeah, so they're going to follow those rules. But Seth and the rest of the field, they cannot use that technology this year. So that's why we just give them some funny business about it. He knows I'm a scoper and he makes fun of me all the time. But anyways, we're rolling into day 2. What's different between day 1 and day 2?
First of all, what
was
your plan? Like, what did you, we all try. I try not to put weights, like, because I feel like you put pressure on yourself. You're like, I got to have 27 to win today.
Right.
Like, but we all do anyway. So what was your target? Did you have a number where you were like, if I'm going to contend, I have to have this today?
I came out figuring, and we talked in the house, and I talked to some guys like Shane Lineberger. We figured 16 a day would win. So I knew after the first day, if I had 14, then I had to up my pound at least 15. So then that levels me out. And then I can work on them the final day.
Yeah.
Try to save some fish. So my main goal was just to try to do what I had the first day or a little bit better, because I knew if I fell, I was going to take myself out of it,
Right.
which is what you saw. A lot of those guys had decent bags the first day, and then they had like 11 pounds.
Yeah,
And fell
yeah.
big time. So I knew my goal was just to say, all right, if I can catch 14 or better, I'm good. And that was what my goal was.
Well, where'd you start? Same area or?
So I started in the same area, but I had actually found a fish late that day that I wanted to start on. I kind of took my time getting to her. I mean, she was in the back of a pocket, but I kind of fished my way in. And to be honest with you, I didn't catch a single fish on my way in. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, I'm skipping a wacky worm on a place that's got 10 million fish in it, and I didn't have a single bite.
Are you seeing them too? Why is your work your way?
No,
back
it was still real early.
Okay, yeah.
Because that was the day that I had an early flight.
Yeah,
So
you
I
got
was
flipped.
right there early in the morning.
So you got a shorter day.
Correct. I was doing it 3:15. So I knew I had to go to work, but I knew at the same time, like we had another cold night. It was like 39 at launch. I was like, this is going to happen between 11 and 2. So I get back there and I can't really see, but I'm skipping around and fishing around, and I get a bite and miss it. And I'm like, man, this is kind of counterproductive right now. Like just sitting here waiting. So I fish around the entire pocket. By the time I do that, it's been like an hour and 45 minutes and the sun's high enough. I just loop back around and go back to that fish. And I think within like 10 minutes, I could see how she's reacting. I caught her. That one was probably one of the easiest fish I caught all week. Because literally once I could see how she was acting, I dropped it behind her once, she spun. I reeled it in, dropped it behind her again, she spun, and then I put it right in front of her and she ate. Like it was one of the easiest fish I've caught all week. And then I just started running new water again. I had to, because I knew that if I was going to catch big ones, I couldn't retrace the water I'd found in practice and even the day before. So I started running new water. I caught a 3, and then I caught a 2 3/4, and then I went a little while without a bite. But that was that time frame where like those fish low light would kind of bite, and then all of a sudden from like 10:30 to noon, I couldn't get a bite. And then once that sun got real high, they'd lock down and you could see them, and they would start to act right. Found another fish that was like 3 3/4, caught it. And then I had found a fish in practice swimming the last day. And I was like, man, let me go check this fish just to see if it was even close, if it had left, if there was a female with it. And I pulled in there, and sure enough, she was just circling around a big rock. I mean, circling. I was like, this is going to take me a while. But I was like, if I can catch this fish, I got a shot. Like I felt like in my heart that if I could have caught this fish, because I guessed it at like 3 pounds, I could catch this fish. So I worked it for like an hour and a half, threw the glide on it, fished a wacky worm. I mean, she would just never lock down. And finally, like for whatever reason, I threw the glide up there and I popped it like twice, and she just stopped and sat there. And I reeled it in, threw it again. She just sat there. I'm like, all right, I got her now.
Man.
Threw the rage bug.
Ron.
Yep. Threw the rage bug up there. She rolled on it. I popped it in front of her face, tried to get her to shock bite. She wouldn't react. She spun back around. I threw it again and popped her face. She wouldn't react. I was like, all right. So then she turned long ways across the bed, and I just pitched it to her tail, and I hit it one time. She turned around, sucked it up. She was 447.
Oh my God.
That gave me my 16.7, and that was like 130. I was like, all right. My scale said 15 something. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
go
just gonna
looking.
go looking.
Yeah.
for
So I
tomorrow.
went looking, and I found one more big one. And I saw some more swimming around. And the funny thing was I got back down close to the ramp late the second day, and I was like, man, let me just look down here, because I hadn't looked in the south at all. I go into one little pocket, and I'm looking through the back corner, and I'm like, man, it looks like a fish. And Pete, I'm not kidding you. I was probably from here to the garage door away from it. I'm like, nah, that ain't no fish, because it would have spooked my mouth, because it was like 6 foot. You could see clear to the bottom. And I'm looking up in these bushes, and I happen to look back to my left. I'm like, man, that's a fish. It was like that wide across the back.
Good.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, God. So I pitched my wacky worm over there, and all of a sudden she just comes up off the bottom. I'm like, nope, I'll save you for tomorrow. So when she come up off the bottom, she was on just a little shelly spot that big around. I was like, I'm coming back for you, because I guessed her at 5. She could have been bigger. So I left. I went in, and I ended up having 16, whatever it was, 7, and I had a good bag. I moved all the way into the top 3.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had a shot to win. I mean, I really did.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
You were what, second?
Third.
Third. That's
Acme
right,
had me by 5, and then Welcher weighed in that stupid bag. 19, whatever it was. But good for him. I mean, yeah.
Well, thinking about that now, real quick, do you wish you would have caught that big one?
No.
Okay. All right.
Because here's the deal. let's say I catch that big one. The smallest fish I had today was like a 247. Yeah, it gives me like a 4-pound upgrade, and I weigh 19 or 19 and a half, respectively. Walter and I are tied with a 2-pound lead. If I don't save that fish, and that's what I've got. I run out of fish the final day, and Hackney still wins.
Yeah.
And me and Walter still come in with 12 and a half.
Before we jump into the final day, did you catch that fish on the final day?
No.
Okay.
It was gone.
That's why. Yeah.
It was gone.
Okay. All right.
Why you gotta jump the gun, Trey?
I'm sorry.
You killed the suspense.
I'm here to tell you.
Interview's over. Thanks for letting up.
Well, you know what? Let's button this thing up. You know, it was really cool, man. Like you coming through weigh in on day 2, and Sean Mulhall, the tournament director, was bumping everybody, making sure they had 5 in the bag. And I came up to Seth and I was like, "Hey, did you get him?" And he goes, "I busted their ass." That's what he says. That's a staple thing. We gotta get him a shirt that
because I knew the weights were going to fall.
But 100%, and he was absolutely right, dude. Like went through the weigh-in, and there he is sitting in the top 3, and I was like, dude, he's sitting.
I led for forever, and I was like, "There's no way that this is going to hold up."
He was probably going back to the house, like looking at the leaderboard.
And I do want to say I was very happy to see that Welcher caught 19 pounds, just because we had talked about this event just amongst us, and I was like, Welcher's probably going out there and whack him. And Trey's like, there ain't no shot he's doing good in this derby. I was like, watch. And then when he busted 19, I want to be like, Trey, I thought Welcher wouldn't do nothing this turn.
Well, Seth was he was my pick.
Well, we all wanted Seth to win, but that momentum.
But yeah, 100%, 100%.
But it was funny.
So yeah, dude. So how did that feel that night? I mean, the cool thing is you had your entire family there.
Yeah, that's so.
You had your wife and all of your children there.
You cannot imagine how good that felt, right?
Does that help, or do you feel added pressure?
No, it doesn't. I don't have any.
Sounds like it helped for sure.
I don't have any. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
When you let's just say you're an average fisherman. You guys have all fished for a long time.
We're barely. I'm barely
on.
average.
I'm just saying you're a weekend guy that you get to fish maybe once every couple months, and you see the names of the Gerald Swindles.
Oh yeah.
And the Hackneys and the Walters and the Kyle Walters. Those guys are supposed to win.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Pressure on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I want to do is
Makes sense.
the biggest thing is I drew a camera for the 3rd day.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest thing was making sure my family could see me, and I was doing good for Goatwood and the people that support me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about no camera.
Yeah.
The camera means nothing to me, but it means something for people like Chad who invested in me and my family and people like that. So I had no pressure. Like I went back to the house, everybody's high-fiving me like, dude, go win this thing. Like I have full support on the road for my guys. And it's no different than if they were like last year when Zach had a chance to win at Saginaw. Like, dude, go win it. Right. I slept great. Woke up the next day. Everybody was like, man, go do this thing. I had full support from so many people. It felt so good. And I was like, why not me? Why can't I go win this thing? Yeah. I don't care who's in front of me. I don't care who's in behind me. All that matters is I can find the 5 biggest ones I can find in the time I've got.
Yep.
And that's what I went out to do. And, I caught a 2 pretty quick. Had that 4 from the day before that I found. I caught it on the first cast on a wacky worm. And I was like, all right, I can do this now. I mean, I had 2 fish for 6.5.
Baby bass color.
Baby bass. Well, no, it was honey candy.
Oh, honey candy.
I had ran out of baby bass, but it was honey candy.
I never heard of honey candy. Is that like methamphetamine or like what is that?
He's making stuff up.
No, it's a Strike King color. I just ran out of baby bass.
I'm just kidding.
So once I had I literally looked at my scale. I think I had 2 for 679. I was like, all right, man, I can do this.
You're good. Keep talking.
Keep talking.
Yeah. So I'm looking around, and there's just a bunch of small males swimming around. And I couldn't get them to commit. Like I felt like I was wasting time. So I pull into a pocket. I saw some fish swimming. I go to the back. There's a 3-pounder swimming around, and I can't get to do anything. As I'm coming out, Hank Cherry's fishing up the left-hand bank. That's the only other time I've seen another boat all week. He's like, you got him? I'm like, dude, I've got a 4.5 and a 2. And he's like, dude, you're on your way. He's like, there's one swimming around this post right here. I'm like, yeah, man, I hadn't got there yet. He's like, no, dude, fish for it. I was like, dude, you don't have to go anywhere. You don't know me nothing. He's like, no, dude, you got a shot to win. Take this fish. It'll help you. And I texted him that night. I got his number from Cole, and I was like, dude, thank you, because you didn't have to do that. He didn't, it wasn't. Hank
Hank
Cherry.
Cherry.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's like, it's like a 15 incher. The funny thing about it was about 10 minutes later, I caught it was 287. So I was like, thank you, Hank. So
Thank
now all of a
you,
sudden I
Hank.
got 3 for 10 pounds. I'm like, dude, if I catch 2 big ones, 2 4-pounders, I got a shot. I mean,
Yeah.
I literally
Legit.
thought if I had 16 pounds that day, I'd have a chance. If I had anything over 17, I was going to win.
Yeah.
So I immediately started running every place I saw a big one swimming. And I went for the next 2 hours and didn't see another fish. Like, it was crazy. And my cameraman was super cool. He's like, dude, you can do this. Like, didn't get in my way. He's like, dude, just find 2 and you'll catch them. So I get to an area and I'm like, that looks like a fish right there. And I'm going down the bank and I look, and it doesn't look, I'm not kidding you, it looks 12 inches long. The wind was blowing though. I just happened to pitch my rage bug up there, and at first pitch, doink, went out to the left, 247 spot. So now I've got 4 for like 11 something. I'm like, all right, this is going to happen. I'm going to win this tournament. And by the time it was 1:30 or 2 o'clock, I had
You
plenty of
still
time
had
left.
You had
3 hours.
Yeah. So then I go the next hour and a half, and I don't see another one. So I roll up in the back of this pocket. I saw some fishing or saw some swimming in the last day of practice. I skip a wacky worm up all the way to the back, and I'm working it out. All of a sudden it goes doink, and the thing kind of swims at me slow, and I set the hook, and it comes screaming out of there, jumps straight up in the air and spits a wacky worm. It's like a 3-pounder, and I'm sick. Like, I'm puking, almost sick. And he's like, dude, you got this. You got this. And as I power pole down, as I'm sitting down looking, just thinking to myself, just calm down. I look to my right, and there's 2 6s and a 4 sitting under a set of dock steps. I looked at my cameraman. I said, there's $100,000 right there. He said, well, catch them. So I got my push pole out. I raised my power poles up, and I just kind of eased myself out. So for the next almost 3 hours, I think I left out of there at 4:45, almost 5 o'clock. No, it was 4:45.
You had a 5:15 check-in.
Correct.
Yep.
I left out of there, and by mind you, I had 4 fish. I fished for these fish, and I'm fishing. I'm skipping my wacky worm as far as I can skip it. I'm throwing the glide bait. I pulled out a frog. I threw a mag draft. Everything I had in my box that I thought I could catch one on or get one to react on, I did it, and I never got a sniff out of it.
How were they acting? They were just sitting,
Just sitting.
just not reacting.
They weren't ready. They were not ready, and I should have
Been
known
there,
that
done
from my
that.
experience. But I was like, man, there's $100,000 sitting right there. If I can get one of those fish to mess up, and I catch a 6-pounder, I got a shot.
Yeah.
So finally, I looked at my cameraman. I was like, dude, we got to go. It's like 4:42, honestly. As I'm wheeling out, I'm on a high. I skip a wacky worm up on a dock on a point, and I catch like a 156 spot, and it give me my limit fish. So I'm like, all right. I get all the way down, and Josh hooks. Josh, I love you. He'd give me a fish to look for in a patch of eelgrass on the south end. He's like, man, I almost ran over this fish. Just stop on the way in. I run all the way down there, and I'm going around this pocket, and there's just, you can see it. It's a patch of eelgrass, and I see the white spot, but there's nothing in it. My God. And by this time, it was like 5:05. I knew I was like, I got what I got. I gave it my best shot. I'm not upset with any of it. With the exception of losing that 1 3-pounder. I didn't lose a fish all week. I got 3 fish over 4 pounds to bite, and I caught them all.
And that's super rare in bed fishing for people that don't know.
Correct.
Like,
Yeah.
To not lose a single fish because
Yeah.
they don't ever eat the bait the way they're
Nope.
supposed to.
Yeah.
But like I said, man, I rolled in there and I had 12 and a half, and I finished 5th. I'm super proud.
Yeah.
You know, my family was there. My Chad showed up the final day. Like, I'm sitting there.
Oh, you were there.
I'm sitting there.
I got a really kind of a cool story for that one.
We're going to get into it.
I'm sitting there talking to Hackney, and I look up. I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing here? And he's like, man, I was sitting on the dozer, and you caught that 4-pounder. And then I just drove over here. And he's like, but thanks for driving over here and not winning.
I had to give him a little bit.
That's what I would have said the same
I
thing.
just drove 2.5
Relationship
hours.
we
At
have,
least you
right?
can do.
But to
Yeah,
have
could at least
Shad
one.
show up, you know, and you root me on there, and my family,
Yeah.
you know, just everybody, all the other anglers, and to look at the names in front of me.
For sure.
Kyle Welcher, arguably one of the hottest anglers on the planet. Greg Hackney, one of the greatest of all times to ever do it. I don't care what anybody says, that man will be in the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. Patrick Walters has won more money in the last 5 years than anybody.
Yeah.
And
He's won
KJ,
4 NPFL shields.
correct. And KJ Queen, who is an absolute certified hammer on that lake,
Especially on that lake.
and he's an Elite Series angler.
Yep.
To finish behind those guys, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
And then look at the guys behind me.
Yeah.
Tommy Biffle, Jason Burrows, all these guys
that was cool to see. Thomas,
yeah, Shane LeHue,
John
Cox, like to be able to sight fish against those guys and hold my own. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Especially with Drew Cook too.
Drew Cook was
He's one of the best sight
That's
fishermen
what
in the
I'm saying.
game. Like
in the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
to do that, I'm not upset. I was super happy. I mean, I'm glad my wife and kids finally got to see it. My dad actually got to see a little bit of it live. It was an awesome week. But I told you when I got in here, now being that close,
You're more hungry.
and hats off to Hackney. He did what he was supposed to do on the final day. I am now hungrier than I have ever been because I now know I can win. I know I can win.
Hey,
I was there.
Hackney, Seth Ellis is coming for you. So
Not
watch
just
out, bro.
Hackney.
I
Just-
know.
You know what I
I
mean?
know.
Like
yeah.
I told you and I told my wife and I told Brad Fuller that next morning, he said, man, just go out there and fish.
Let's go fish, dude.
I said, dude, I've been dreaming about this my whole life.
Yeah.
To go out behind my idol and have a chance to beat him. That's all I can ask for.
Yeah.
And Brad Fuller, of course, he had to get his jabs and said, how'd that work out for you?
I was actually just about to say, yeah.
But-
How'd that go?
You think Greg Hackney is like,
Greg Hackney doesn't know who I am and he
keep
doesn't
dreaming.
care.
Oh, he
But
knows who you are now.
he's like,
Here's the thing.
keep dreaming, son.
There's one coming up in a couple of weeks.
Ooh,
It doesn't stop anymore.
Send it.
It does not stop. I have never been more hungry in my life.
That gigantic Pithecus trains are rolling, boy.
You can't stop this.
I'm just telling you. I
I'm gonna
now
tell-
know I feel like I
Yeah.
can do it.
I'll tell you
Well,
what,
we've
man.
been telling you could do it.
Well, I know.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to listen to us.
I mean,
know-
until you guys picked Luis Fernandez to win the AOY.
Hey, listen, man.
that was all Trey.
That was me. That was me, 100%.
And I love
I
Luis. He's
picked
a
Kyle
good dude.
Welch.
And honestly, I think I doomed Lewis this year, man. Like,
Is he not doing good?
yeah, he's just having a hell of a year,
Is he?
and I felt
Bad
well,
or good?
no bad,
Oh,
and just like he's
I
had,
yeah.
trolling motor issues and all these other things, and but at the end of the day, Lewis is a great human being, and
Yeah, he's super.
it was really cool, man. Lake Norman was a great event for North Carolina in general. We had a lot of anglers that are hometown North Carolinians, Matt McBee, yourself, Josh
14
Hooks.
guys.
14
Shane
guys.
LeHue.
Shane LeHue, KJ Queen.
David
Hayden
Williams,
Hammond.
Shane Lineberger,
It's got to be
Scott
more than
Hammer.
14 guys.
No, 14
I
guys.
think
14
it's
From
I,
North
I thought it was like
Carolina.
27.
I thought it was like 19.
Oh.
But anyways, long
Really?
story short,
It's like
more.
6 from the triangle.
Dude.
Not
Yeah.
counting like Norman guys.
Well,
North,
that's true.
It's more
North
than
Carolina showed out. The crowd,
2 weekends in a row.
yeah, and I want to say this, right? If you've never been to an NPFL weigh-in and they're in the area, go to it.
Absolutely.
North Carolina at Lake Norman showed out, dude.
Yeah.
They had a ton of people there. You couldn't see them. I wouldn't lie. There's been weigh-ins at the national level where there's been a handful of people there.
But look,
Right.
that's the thing, right? We have vendors, we have food vendors,
Yes.
we have clothing vendors, we have all kinds of activities for young
Yep.
kids. Most of the time, we have it where there's a park,
Yep.
so you can keep your children's attention. You need to come see these things. When we were at
100%.
Santee, it was off the chain. They
Yes.
had bands playing, music, vendors.
Yep.
The NPFL is the hottest thing going right now. And I'm not saying that because I fish it. Trey, you were there.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I mean, the attendance speaks for itself.
So you got a lot of support behind the NPFL, man, and like it's I've said it before. It reminds me of the OG like FLW days, man. Like it's just oriented towards the families, and everybody's there just to cheer on the anglers and be a part of it. And so you should go see it. Lake Norman showed out. Like I was really impressed with seeing that crowd, even though I was kind of working behind the scenes and stuff like that. And I got to see that too. And I do want to give, before we bring Chad on here, I want to give those guys a shout out too. All the staff at the NPFL, man, they really bust their butts at trying to make this event seamless and streamlined for the anglers, and they do a phenomenal job at it. The camera crews, they do a phenomenal job. Yamaha service trailer was there. They did a great job. Our good friend Dylan Freeze had some engine issues. They took care of him. They took care of Patrick Walters. The Yamaha crew, man, I don't know if you guys know this. This is something that happened to me up in Mooresville before, which is right outside of Charlotte. They had their bass cat and their truck was broken into at their hotel. They were staying at the same exact Hampton Inn. Yes, I'm saying this. They stayed at the same exact hotel that I stayed in, and they got their stuff broken into. But beyond that, those guys were resilient. They bounced back. They came out. They helped out. So phenomenal event, dude. We couldn't be more proud of you. Like, I knew that this was going to be a good event. We all knew this is going to be a great event for you, and we're looking forward to the next one.
Could have been a little more proud.
Oh yeah, if you would have maybe finished fourth.
If there
third,
was
second, or
shields
first.
sitting, I'd have been a little more proud. But
You know what? There's still time, boys.
I'm like 98%.
See, I'm
proud.
not the only one that gives you a
Oh, I
hard
know.
time.
And look, it is.
No, trust me.
It drives me.
I
It drives me more than you know.
I hammer on this poor
Me
boy.
giving you a hard, or us giving you a hard time drives you?
Yes.
Oh, so I need to do it more?
No.
Oh.
That's what I heard.
Here's the
He
difference.
said,
I'm
said
with you
in
every
fact,
day. These two guys I only see like once a month, right?
Yeah, that's because
lucky
he-
me.
he doesn't even love us that much. He said, you know what? You know what'll drive him the most is if you give him a pay cut and more hours
That's what I heard.
to work.
Yeah. That's perfect. That's
When
perfect.
he needs a check to put that food on the table, then
No, I'm
you'll be
just
good.
kidding. Seth, man, seriously, dude. We are super proud of you. We get to fish against Seth and some of these local derbies and stuff. I've learned a lot from you. And we're going to continue doing what we talked about, which is building that culture of anglers. And the things that you talked about on here are going to help other anglers learn how to sight fish, learn how to attack that problem set, learn about the baits that they should be throwing. And maybe we'll do another episode where we only talk about sight fishing, because I've learned between the two of you guys and a lot from Pete, man, sight fishing it's an art, dude.
It's a niche deal.
It
for
is
sure.
an art
It's
for
a niche
sure.
deal, yeah.
I do not like it in a tournament. I do not like it. I don't think it's reliable, but I can see where you can absolutely hammer them if you can figure out how to find the biggest fish in the lake that are ready to eat that day. Right.
It's a great equalizer, man.
It is.
You're just
for
missing
sure.
your confidence.
Dude, I'm here to tell you, I've been working on it. I sight fished yesterday. I went out there. I hammered them on the OneCast Fishing sight fish. I just, for some odd reason, my mind tells me there's something else in the lake going on, and I got to go find it.
There is, but most of the time when that's the deal, that's the deal.
Oh yeah.
I promise you.
Mhm.
Now, earlier in the year, when there's just a handful on beds, then yes, there's more pre-spawn. But I would venture to guess from the second week of April to the second week of May, if you're not on the bank somewhere, you're gonna get beat.
If it
Yeah.
Or at least
Murray,
after the second full moon.
At Murray, if it weren't for Jason Burrows knowing that lake and exactly the
100%.
one rock point where there was a little freaking deal going on,
Yeah.
like
You'd have won.
it'd
Or you'd
1,000% been a bit.
That's what I'm
100%.
saying.
Yep.
But to Seth's point, like that local knowledge, we don't know that rock point that's the first one for the herring to pull up on and
Right.
spawn before anywhere else, because it's 3 degrees warmer, because the sun shines through a pine tree the right way.
Yeah.
Like it's those little things though.
Yeah,
Those are
right.
tough to compete.
That's exactly
I'm
right.
gonna tell you what. You send me out on Sharon Harris right now. The only thing I'm gonna do is sight fish all day long,
And you can go out and whack them.
all day. I will drop 25 pounds.
There's a lot of people local here that can't see them on here.
Yeah, you got to be able to see them.
There's a lot of local people that can't see them. Period.
Period. So Seth, great job on Lake Norman, man. Stop number 2 of the NPFL. You guys are getting ready to head to Douglas, which is in Tennessee. It's a TVA lake, right?
No,
No, it's not TVA. It's a
Tennessee.
Highland Reservoir,
yeah,
right?
it's a Highland Reservoir.
That's right.
It's fed by the
It's the French Broad.
River. Correct.
Bingo.
Look at you, Ben. How'd you know that?
Because he's
Well,
SMRT.
because every time I drive over it
Yeah, on 40.
on 40,
Yep.
it doesn't say Douglas.
That's
It
right.
says French Broad River.
Correct. It's a French Broad River
I
fed
fished
lake.
it one time.
So
it
it's
was in
super-
December and it was like 37 feet low.
Yeah, it's a super clear place, but it's got all 3 species. Smallmouth have to be 18 inches. And from what we're being told as anglers, the lake is going to be low because unfortunately, because of Hurricane Helene last year that took so many lives, deposited, I mean, just acres and acres and acres of trees and limbs. So
So they've kept it down.
they've kept it down, and I don't know what county it is. Dandridge, I believe, has actually
It's dangerous. Yeah.
contracted companies to come in and clean up the shorelines,
Wow.
because if the water came up, then it would create boating hazards for folks.
Sure.
So they've kept it down. They're in the process of cleaning up all of the shorelines. They're burning actively 24/7. But it is up to my knowledge of it right now, they're going to keep the water.
This is for the fish to hide.
Have you ever been there?
I have been over it, but never been on it. But
Is Cherokee open too? Is it
no,
only
it's
Douglas?
not only
I know-
Douglas.
I know
Now
I-
you could probably lock if you wanted to, but I'm not going to lock.
I'm not giving anything away here, but it's a pretty cool lake to be on. I think you'll enjoy it.
I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
it. I've seen some videos on it. Google Earthed it. Man, I'm just ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm so pumped right now. Like, I don't even want to go to work the next 2 days. I just want to go fish.
You can take them off. It's fine.
Oh, can I?
Yeah.
You gonna pay me?
No, I'm just
Chad-
saying. I
Chad
mean, you're not
knows.
going to get paid, but you're more than welcome to take them off.
And when we were talking before, we took half a Monday off the day he comes back from Norman and go.
You know
that
what?
was not because of me, though.
Seth,
it wasn't
Seth-
because of me.
well, listen, Seth has the
Toby.
coolest
Yeah.
boss and one of the coolest title sponsors in the game. We're going to bring him on right now. You guys heard a little bit out of him. Chad Erickson, correct?
Yep.
From the owner, founder, CEO, president, CFO,
Yeah,
all the above.
Oh, God.
no.
It's all
It's
right.
okay. It's okay.
Hold on
Uh,
before we go too far. Let me make sure that the mic's still hooked up.
We're checking it right
yo,
now. Yeah,
yo,
we're all
check,
good
check.
to go.
No, stop talking. Hey. Test. I don't know if that's right. It's not. Test. There we go. Okay, you're good.
All right, we're good to go. So Seth almost just collapsed everything in here. We got some cables and stuff. But anyways, we got Chad Erickson here. He is the founder of Goatwood Farms out of STEM, North Carolina. And you are Seth's boss because
Boss, but
boss, friend, title sponsor. Basically, the answer is D, all the above. Chad, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience and then talk a lot about Goatwood Farms and what it's like being a title sponsor. How'd you even, just talk that stuff.
so I've been in the fishing game for a long time. I've been fishing tournaments since I was 12 years old, so 20 plus years, 25 years, I guess.
Wow.
And I wanted to do the same thing Seth's doing, and I just never pulled the trigger and never, made that jump. But the cool thing is I know what it takes to do what he's doing, and it's work for yourself to work for somebody who understands, hey, I need to go take 6, 8, 9 weeks off to go fishing.
Right.
And that's hard to come by.
Sure.
And what we're doing, it works out. When he's gone, I'll be around the yard and stuff. And when I'm gone, because I'll fish too. I don't fish that big a trail, but it just works out. And then we'll play hooky from time to time and go jump in a Thursday tournament.
You're probably the coolest boss in the entire world, dude.
It's pretty easy to convince me to go catch them.
So real quick, are you from North Carolina?
Not originally. Outside southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois.
Okay.
So I spent I moved to North Carolina when I was 20,
Okay.
I think. So I'm 37. So I've been here a while.
Okay. So did you get the fishing bug when you were in Wisconsin?
Yeah, I grew up in my family had a cabin in northern Wisconsin, and I heard somebody talking about this the other day. I grew up where the fish were super stupid.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Trey's from Michigan. I'm from Pennsylvania, and northern fish are dumb.
Oh, they're so dumb.
They're so dumb.
So dumb. It's so fun. So I got spoiled when I was young, and this is weird. Falls Lake is my home lake now, I guess. And I've won some money out there. I've done well in the past. When I first moved here, it took me 3 trips going out to Falls Lake to catch
a bass,
to catch a fish.
Yeah.
I was clueless.
Yep.
Clueless.
Yeah. So you're from the Midwest, I guess you could technically say.
Yep.
The North Country.
Where we knock the sides off everything we catch, gentlemen.
Right.
And you moved down here. What was your story before Goatwood? Like, what were you doing before Goatwood?
I've been in construction my whole life, more or less. But moving down here, at 20 years old, I didn't go to college. So 20 years old, I was just swinging a hammer, making decent money. But that was right at 07, 08, 09 when the economy was pretty bad.
Crash.
So it was. Kicked in to learn how to catch them around here, but it's fun now.
Yeah, especially when you Josh Hooks and
Yeah, Josh and
Seth
Jamie.
Ellis and
Yep.
Jamie and Mike Corbishley
Yep.
and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty humbling, man. So
I was telling him I like when they go to NPFL events because then it's a little easier to win a Thursday night tournament.
Yeah.
All those guys are gone.
yeah, get out of our area so we can.
I'm sure
actually-
everybody was pumped for the first
Yeah,
one off
yeah.
all when none of them were there.
I didn't have to compete with Jesse either.
Yeah, Jesse
and I are
too.
always
Yeah,
competing.
yeah.
It seems like so.
So talk to us about Goatwood. So hang on, what came first, Goatwood Farms or Seth Ellis?
Me.
We've known each other.
No, only because we were on the same pro staff. So back before Chad
okay.
took on his endeavor, which is
So I started a construction company back in 2018.
Okay.
And at the beginning of this year, I sold out a majority of it, and now my main focus is Goatwood Farms. But prior to I guess that was before Capcom that we met. So we go back 10 or 12 years or something.
2016, because we were on the same pro staff with Bass Mafia at the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was still fishing BFLs. He was still fishing hot and heavy before he started Capcom.
Yeah.
So it's
When
I
we started the
Chad a long
company, I
time.
kind of gave up fishing for a while just because I couldn't do both. It was too hard. And and we met and we've known each other. We fished against each other. We fish a lot alike. He's stubborn as a goat, so working for Goatwood Farms kind of works out for him.
Ask me about the times we fished against one another. What happened?
All right, let's talk about the last tournament we fished together. How about that? You were crying.
No, sir.
16-3.
Yeah. Oh, look,
16 fish to his 3.
and he caught him. We got a little gas money, and I'm not upset about that.
It was a team tournament,
It was.
so don't make no.
If we
never
caught
mind.
him,
He
we
was in the
needed to
front too. Don't let it get it twisted.
Here we go.
All right. So before we get into all the SHIT talking here, since Apple will censor me, so you guys met back in the day. You guys were both fishing hot and heavy.
Yep.
You took some time off. You did the construction deal. Then you sold that deal off to start Goatwood.
I started Goatwood prior to completely walking away. Goatwood is more or less just I moved out to the country a while back with my wife and we started a little family, got 2 little kids, and we live on a little farm. And I started splitting firewood and first time I ever had to pay for propane when I moved out to the country.
Okay.
It cost almost $2,500 or something the first time I had to fill up that propane tank, and I said, hold my beer, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And I went to West Virginia and bought an outdoor wood boiler, and I heat my house and my hot water year round with wood.
Okay.
So I started splitting wood, and it's turned into just I can't keep up.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of worked out where I knew I was getting ready to part ways with construction, and then I helped him. We kind of worked together last year, but it was kind of later through the year, so it wasn't as we didn't have time to look at boat wraps and do all that kind of stuff. But I don't know, we've been working together for a year and a half now, 2 years. So we're splitting firewood. That was kind of how it started, and then we have a sawmill. He runs a sawmill quite a bit. So we're doing some custom sawmilling and wood slabs and stuff like that. But we're actually trying to open up a landscape supply yard. That'd be the bread and butter of the whole deal. So we'll sell mulch and gravel and the firewood and all that all at one place. And it's where we go every day. And the videos you see on YouTube and stuff of us, that's kind of where it's all being filmed at.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I wanted to bring that up. So you got Seth running operations.
Yep.
Right. You're the president, founder. And then you brought on Cole Harris.
Yep.
The D team founder.
Yep.
Right. So what's Cole doing for Goatwood Farms?
All the
Media stuff.
all the media, anything that involves a computer, because Seth and I are not smart enough to use a computer.
I mean, he can barely use
That's, yeah.
an electric like skid steer and stuff, right?
Right.
I'm a little surprised
know how
that
to-
Cole's smart enough to use a
Wait a
computer.
I can use all that heavy equipment. The computer is just I don't have time for it.
Yeah, have you?
He's
actually-
smarter than
Has
me.
he even figured out this new graphs yet?
He doesn't.
Those things were sick too.
He knows how to drop a waypoint, dude.
Yeah, right.
6 of them to be exact.
Yeah, dude,
So-
I gotta get. We were just know how to update my hummingbird.
Jesus,
Oh,
right? Like
yeah,
you
yeah.
got-
Redwood.
Redwood is a native to Northern California.
You drive out to California.
It's a
Cedar.
sequoia
It's
or
a
something
red
like
cedar.
that.
You mean cherry?
Yeah, whatever. It's all
Cherry.
cherries are red. Cherries are red.
What are you looking for? Smoking wood?
I don't know. Something for a
Barbecue?
wood.
No, remember that shelf that I told you that they needed, and it's been in the kiln. Remember I said they needed like
He was too-
36
Oh,
inches?
it's still in the
Oh,
kiln.
yeah,
It ought to
yeah,
be
yeah.
good and
He's
dry
too,
now.
he's too busy.
What'd you do with it? You took it like
Yeah.
a month ago.
No, it's still in the shop.
Yeah, don't let it
That's what
fool
he's
you.
talking about.
He's too,
Redwood.
he's
Yeah,
too
thanks.
busy asking or getting a 5th place in some NPFL event. So
Chelsea's just
So,
missing her piece of cherry.
so you bring him on, and I know, man, like he how's his work ethic?
I give him a hard time,
Mm.
but no, he
Does he
does.
show up on time?
He does. He does. When he's late, he brings donuts and coffee.
Does
That's
he-
how you get past that one.
Does he ever take unexpected bathroom breaks in his pants?
Oh my gosh. Are we gonna get into that? Please. Let's
What
have it.
happened? What do you
No,
mean? What's
no.
that question
Oh,
referring to?
please.
Let's focus on Goatwood.
Please.
I was just curious if Chet's ever shit.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect
Seth-
time to do
Seth's ever shat his pants.
to do a little YouTube plug for you, Seth.
Uh,
If you haven't followed us,
Please don't make me relive that.
Goatwood Farms on YouTube. There's a whole video on the day Seth ate Mexican food for lunch.
Sure.
and he showed up later on in American flag pants.
Yep, those are the pants that I specifically bought for. I wore them like 3 or 4 years in a row for the Warriors on the Water tournament in Jordan. Those are the only
Wonderful
ones.
tournaments.
Yeah, I wish they still. That was my favorite. But those are the only pants I had big enough to fit them.
Yeah.
And they were like 4 inches too short.
Well, you know,
Why are you complaining?
let's just be real, Seth, before we go too far. Like, there's 2 types of men in the world. There's men that have crapped their pants and will admit to it, and there's liars, and that's the only 2 types of grown men.
Buddy, it's on video. There's no denying it.
There, anybody that denies is lying. If anybody in this room tells you they haven't crapped their pants, they're lying.
There is no denying it. It
Many-
was on TV.
many-
Well, that was your
times.
problem.
I've never been to the situation that he was in. I
Yeah.
mean, Shar did, yes, but come on, he had a dumpster fire.
You didn't think you were going to get out of that unscathed, did you?
I mean, it's on the YouTube.
And this
man. I ain't
is
never
about
been to that.
about Goatwood Farms. The president, CEO, founder is talking himself about it. And the cool thing is you guys are doing something so cool, you know, something very unorthodox that not a lot of other businesses such as yours are doing, which is capturing that raw footage, right, through Cole and the rest of you guys, pushing it out there on social media, right, just showing that raw, unfiltered content. Because at the end of the day, not a lot of people are like, let me search like, wood farm. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, what am I going to do? But you guys have a really cool dynamic going on where you're having a good time. You're cutting up during work. You're getting the work done. You're providing to the customers and stuff like that. And so the future
We're
is
having
looking.
fun.
Yeah, you're having fun. Why would you do anything if you're not having fun?
That's right.
I
It took me a while to realize that, and that's
Yeah.
kind of where
For sure.
I'm at least. I know he's having fun.
Yeah.
He gets to fish, he gets to go fishing.
I don't do anything but that. Apparently,
We know.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, we're aware.
Yeah, maybe
You think you should
show
at least
the
won
word.
that tournament as much as you fished.
Gosh, this is great. I got to come back here more
Oh, Lord
often. I never
have
had
mercy.
so many allies.
you have no idea.
No, you don't.
It's all right.
You
dude.
should see it gets
If you're
rowdy,
not first, you're 5th. It's no big deal.
man. Ricky Bobby. What do I do with my hands?
Anyways, but let's talk about this real quick. So you guys are obviously friends, but you work with each other. That can be weird, right? Sometimes that can be weird, like the boss, like not boss dynamic and stuff. But talk about from Goatwood Farms perspective, like what does it mean to you to be the title sponsor? Like what is that all about for a guy like Seth?
It's cool. You can't describe it really. I mean, I'm not living vicariously through him, I guess, but in a way I am.
Yeah.
Because I know that it's really helping him chase his dream.
Sure.
But it goes kind of back to the work hard, play hard type of thing. I mean, we do work when we need to work, but yeah, I mean, it worked. We're gonna make it work because I know how much it means to him, and it's fun seeing it.
Absolutely. You guys have the coolest, in my opinion, the coolest vinyl boat wrap
I thought it
on the
turned out pretty
national
cool.
stage.
I like it.
Like Steve Kennedy's got a great one, right? He's got the tiger, cougar,
Auburn Tiger. Yep.
yeah, whatever it is on the Bassmaster Elite Series. But you guys have that lime green with the goat, the emblem, right? The whole deal going on the NPFL. And I think Cole's going to get something similar, but I think he's going to go black with it. It's cool to see that. And a lot of people are like, why do they do that? And I'm like, look at NASCAR. Look at any jersey that's out there. These are sponsor dollars going towards a marketing campaign, right? For Goatwood Farms.
Exactly.
For any company that's out there. And so that's a really cool deal. And what that means, I'm sure Seth, I'm going to speak for Seth here, but it's like, dude, like you're taking a chance in me. Right? Like you're looking at me and saying, hey, I think you can do what you say you're going to do. And I want to invest in you. Right? Not only are you working for Goatwood, but now I'm your title sponsor. Like go market and promote this across the country. Yep. Right.
Exactly. And him and Cole are a little different. We see each other every day.
Yeah.
Cole, we see as much as we can when he lives a little further away, and he does come, throughout the week to do some filming. He spends a lot of time with doing the editing and all that, which I hear is rather difficult.
Yeah, I don't ever want to do that again.
Ever.
I didn't never do it before.
You've never done it before. So.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. but what I kind of laid it out is like Goatwood Farms, the supply yard, and what we're doing in Granville County is going to be the main focus, I guess. But then the way I kind of had it set up with him and Cole's, if we can blow up YouTube and get to the point where it's generating revenue, I mean, the sky's the limit.
Sure.
I mean, Goatwood could be as big as we want, or small, whatever. Just kind of seeing what happens, having fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you guys gotten any feedback from either you or on your side from like the wrap and anything like that so far?
Everybody loves the wraps.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter where I go. What's Goatwood? What's good? And he's even hearing it now, like him showing up the last day of the NPFL and Big Al blasting Goatwood everywhere. Like that is cool. That makes him feel good, and it makes me feel good. Right? Yep. Doing well enough to where there is recognition being brought to that. Not only because I'm I guess you could call an ambassador, but I work there too. So
you are an ambassador.
Well, I know, but it's a reflection on feel good about people's talking about Goatwood Farms, right? So it's cool to see that. I know he really enjoys it. And then locally, like everybody's like, well, man, I didn't know that was you. I thought that was Seth, right? Because there's several boat wraps around.
But I like.
So
are there? You got another boat wrap?
I got mine. I wrapped my own.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and then his and Cole's.
Yep.
Well, Cole's not yet,
Cole's
but it will be.
ready to get
Cole's Bass Cat.
Yep.
You just wrap ours. He's fine.
Hell, we could have got a better deal if we did.
I would love that one. That is sick. I mean,
we are green and white, and I'm just kidding.
Big Goatwood logo with a big OneCast logo.
No, it is cool.
Yeah,
and the other thing too is like we're I'm talking boat wraps here, but like kids are drawn to that stuff.
Yep.
Man. Like every kid in the NPFL weigh-in at Norman, like that was the first thing that grabbed their eye. They're like, oh, obviously they knew who like Hank Cherry was and Hackney and stuff. And they're like, what is that? Did you get some kids asking for your autograph?
I did. I had a couple kids.
Big Rapala.
Yeah, that was cool. I saw that.
I actually had a couple adults though.
I know.
Like, hey man, you did a heck of a job this week.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter if you're
how much
8 or 80.
And now those things,
the guys that asked for his autograph.
Oh, we'll talk about
all the money.
But I'm serious. So dude,
that's $9 I ever spent.
Looking at Goatwood Farms on the side of that Nitro Z20, right? Seth's going through the weigh-in. Kids and everybody, they're like, oh, what is that? You know what I mean? Like it does catch their eye. Now, the other thing it also allows is for guys like me to follow boats around like that and mark every single spot that they're fishing. You know what I mean? No, I'm just kidding.
So we have plans.
We already got all Seth's waypoints.
we have plans for that though. There'll be a non-wrapped John boat of sorts probably driving around here shortly. Because once they get offshore, then it's going to be kind of like that. At least for me, he's not fishing. He's not going to be as local.
Yeah.
But
so you fish though.
Yeah.
You fish some big tournaments out of Virginia, right?
This year I was going to fish both what they call the Alpha Series, which is a solo, and then the Team Series. But because we're trying to get this supply yard up and going, I just don't have enough time really to do both. But maybe next year I'll do both. But it's the Elite 70 team trail, and it is awesome.
I heard it's great.
Steve Camp and his family, they put on one heck of a tournament, and it's I mean, where else can you go to fish in first place is, $10,000, $11,000 for,
that's a lot of money.
That's awesome.
That's a lot of money.
And paid down. And I think I got the last check in like 14th place or something at Bugs, and it was like $350.
Really?
For 75,
that's more than your entry fee.
Boats.
Yeah.
And I like that it's capped too. That's what's cool. I like that. All the anglers. It's like a big club at that point, Is there a future for you outside of Goatwood Farms fishing at the national level? Are we going to see 3, 4, 5 Goatwood Farms boat wraps rolling around? Yeah.
If we can get this thing rocking and rolling in Granville County, I guarantee you he'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to. I mean, my wife has known me before. I mean, she's been around for the when I was super into it, and then slowed down to start the company, and now she sees I'm super into it again. And so I think she knows it's coming. But we got a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old, not nearly what Seth has to do.
He has a whole platoon.
He's got a little army.
7 kids running around.
Yep. Yep. I mean, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
My family, it's pretty cool because my mom's been around it so long. My dad grew up. My dad fished it in Bassmaster. What do they call them?
Top 150s.
Top 150s back in the day. So my mom's been around it a long time, the family. So if I do decide, I think I could get the support to help out with the kids, with my parents and my wife's parents and stuff. So I don't know. It's really tempting.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about it is, though, I don't have the desire to do it for a living anymore.
Sure.
That's what's cool.
Goatwood Farms is a living.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So in a way, I guess, yeah. But I don't want to do the whole sponsor thing like I used to. It just drug me down. I don't know. I just if I do, I think I'll do it kind of maybe with local helping people and stuff. But that's about it. Because I don't have time. I don't have time to do the boat shows and the extra stuff that comes with traveling for but that's why I do like the NPFL. 6 events is a lot. It's a lot easier for a working man to fish 6 weeks instead of 9 or whatever the other ones are.
Yeah. 100%, man. The NPFL is, outside of team trails and stuff like Fisher's Men and the Alpha Series and stuff, like it really is, in my opinion, about the closest you're going to get to the grassroots national level.
100%. And going back to what you said earlier, I got to meet Brad and some of the staff, and I know a lot of staff from being in fishing for a while. Fat Cat, I've known. I was on Cashin's team back with him and Paul Benson, so I know a lot of those guys. And man, it is so cool seeing how well run that tournament is, and just the fact that the guy that's running the whole show knows every one of his anglers and just talks to them like they're best friends.
Yeah,
that to me was, I called my dad and said, man, it's really hard for me not to want to jump into this. I really did. I had been thinking about it, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean,
it's a giant fraternity, man.
It would be so much fun to travel with these guys though, and because I know a lot of I know Josh Hooks and I know Burge and some of those guys now. I don't think I've ever met Jordan, but so it would be cool if I travel with the group of guys like that, but we'll see.
Well, dude, we appreciate you talking about Goatwood Farms. I think the future looks bright, obviously for both of you guys. I mean, obviously, you're the heartbeat of Seth's NPFL career right now, and it's just looking brighter and brighter. Especially maybe he'll get a 4th place finish in the next one. You know what I mean?
Yep, that's what we're hoping.
You know what? If you told me I could show up to Douglas and get 4th place, I will take it.
What, dude? Now you're being self-deprecating.
No,
just win the event. Just win the event. It's 3,700 feet low.
Yeah.
Pete said.
And they're letting Ford.
The fish are like it's like shooting fish in a barrel there. Apparently.
Okay.
So just
and I'll have the gun with blanks in it.
Here we go again.
Well, you should have checked your gear before you went to combat,
Now I
Seth.
got to start hammering on him.
But you
Alec
know,
Baldwin.
but I think it's super
It
cool,
could be
man.
raining.
Couldn't help it.
We can't say that. We're not going to edit
Yeah,
this.
we
We're not
can't
going to
say
edit
that.
this.
I know.
It's going to drop.
This is live. This is going out live.
I got it.
But no, dude, Chad, we appreciate you breaking it down. Goatwood Farms here, right in Stem, North Carolina. You offer a variety of services to the community. You're looking to grow that franchise or grow that company. You got Seth on board. You got Cole Harris, who's getting ready to get his boat wrapped on. He's fishing the NPFL. You got advocates here with the OneCast. We're super excited for you.
I really appreciate you guys having me on.
And we're super excited for Seth too, man. Congratulations on that 5th place, that top 10, right? As everyone says. And we're looking forward to Douglas and the rest of the 2025 NPFL season. Before we end here, though, Goatwood Farms, where can they find you at? Where can everybody find you at?
Right now, social media, Goatwood Farms on Instagram. I believe Goatwood Farms on Facebook as well.
And YouTube.
And YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube is what we're pushing now. We started off when we first started. It's been 4 or 5 months now. Just doing Facebook and Instagram, and now we got videos. Hopefully, dropping one a week from now on. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's going to get more and more. It's a learning curve for a lot of it.
Sure.
But it's fun because that's the cool thing is like we're not acting. It's what you see is we talk to each other all the time.
Yeah.
And if you guys are looking for specialty cooking wood, pecan, cherry, hickory, oak, hit us up on Instagram. Hit us up, leave us a message or a comment in our YouTube, and we will get it to you guys. Right now, we've got some of that stuff, so it's getting ready to be grilling season. It's getting ready to be barbecue season. Let us know. We've got it. We'll bring it to you. And please just give us a chance, and I promise you won't be disappointed.
Absolutely. Well, Seth,
Look at him. That's pretty good.
look at that. We're waiting on that
He's
cherry.
learning.
He wants that raise big time.
Yeah. I got a pit boss out back, so I'll be looking for those smoking wood chips, pellets, whatever the heck it freaking takes. I've never used it before. Pete's got to show me how to do that. So, but we appreciate you guys coming in here and hanging out with the OneCast for tonight. Ben, anything from you?
No.
Pete, anything
I'm good.
from
Appreciate
you?
y'all.
Seth, appreciate you breaking down all 3 days and the practice of the Lake Norman event. Stop number 2 of the NPFL. Chad, appreciate you breaking down Goatwood Farms and what the future looks like out of Stem, North Carolina. Both of you guys are huge friends of the show now. You've been for a long time. And this is what we're talking about when we say help us continue growing a culture of anglers, helping anglers.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Yeah. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.